Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a book review on this book called 5-Minute Sketching People. It is by Pete Scully, an artist that I admire. His urban sketching skills are really cool. And you know, everybody has their own taste in what they like, but I do admire his ability to sketch people, and there are a lot of artists that I admire in that regard. I've always had a fear of sketching people because I never did them very well. So recently when I did this painting that you all remember because it was just last week, but I did it in my field book, this one, with the man, the Amish farm, that was kind of intimidating for me. I wondered, how am I going to sketch this? Especially sketching it on screen where you all could watch me. It was somewhat intimidating. So anyway, I did it and I was successful and I was so proud of it, you know. I had ordered this book before Christmas sometime, and it finally came not long. It might have been the same day I did that sketch or maybe the day before, and I hadn't even gotten a chance to read the book yet. I have read some of the book, but I have not gotten through the whole thing. But even the titles in the chapters, to me, are just terrific. It's a softcover book. I will post it, a link to it in the description below. Recently, I did do a quick review on 5-Minute Sketching Architecture with Liz Steele, who is an architect / urban sketcher. And I really enjoy her work too. She also has a YouTube channel you can follow, although she doesn't have a lot of videos. She's done a lot in this book, and I told you how much I loved the way it was set up. Now this book is set up differently. It's got a different author. It has the same publisher. It's a Firefly Book Publishing, and their covers are very similar. The books are the same size, kind of like the urban sketchbooks, these books that you see a lot of people have. And I'm going to be reviewing some of these as well. But this one, why don't we turn the camera around and I will give you a quick look through and you can decide if it's good for you. Okay, so here it is. Like I said, it has a soft cover. It was written by author Pete Scully. I just got it wet because I was washing my hands. And let's take a look at the chapters. The chapters in the book I thought were very interesting. It starts out with how to see. So it teaches you some quick information on seeing proportions in bodies and how you get them down on your paper. In chapter 2, it's all about being quick and getting things on paper fast while people are moving about, and you have to kind of memorize their positions or whatever. Then 3 is on some time-saving techniques. And then 4 is about supplies used. So, he talks about people and how important they are to drawings. And then here he starts discussing how to see, how we should observe things, how light is reflecting off of their hair and their clothing and things like that, how the wrinkles are in the clothing. Then he discusses outlining simple shapes and the different types of figures you can draw, either like a stick figure with little balloons as joints, or using a 3-dimensional drawing with cylinders for arms and legs. And he teaches you how to get started. Also, there's what we call a contour sketch, where you use one single line. He's calling it wires first, starting by drawing someone as a single line from head to foot. So you're basically curving the outline of their entire body without lifting your pencil. We call that contour drawing. Then there's also gesture drawings, where you're just picking up the action of the body. It's not meant to look beautiful. It can look very scribbled, in fact. Then he gets into proportions on faces, how you split up those proportions, splitting the face in half, and where the eyes, the nose, and the mouth would lay. Then he discusses body proportion. This was something that I learned that I did not know, that every body is basically 8 head lengths. So however big their head is, they have 8 heads in height total. So that would be 2, 4, 6, 7, and their head is the 8th one, yes, or the first one, whatever. So that was very interesting to me. I never thought of that. Then there is drawing arms and legs, and the proportion to arms and legs, and hands, and how difficult hands can be, but that you can simplify them. Getting simple arm shapes, and using contour, not just a straight line, because there are curves to the arms and the legs where the muscles are, and he teaches you about that. Then he goes into facial features more in depth, and then about hair and drawing hair in a hurry, that kind of thing. Gaining compositions, backgrounds, how important backgrounds are. Then playing with perspective and how head height is important, so that you can show distance and perspective. You can see this slowly goes down. The line on this is angling downward slowly. As the people get further away, you'll see it angle. And they may be bigger here and smaller here, but they're almost the same height in the chairs, which is very interesting, how to get those effects. Then focusing on foreshortening. Foreshortening can be really difficult. It's tricky, and he discusses that. And he does do these bullet points, kind of like she did, but it's in a little different way. He talks a little more in depth, I believe. Then there's being quick with your drawings. These are more gestural. I was talking about gesture drawings and how they reflect the action of a figure. And you can see this. It looks quite scribbled, but he has nailed the action in the figure. Quick drawing portraits. That's very scary for me. Doing speedy selfies. You know, this is something he discusses in the book too, is that even if you don't have a person you can draw, you can always draw yourself. Yourself is always available. So do selfies. Although the problem is it's going to be pretty difficult to get a profile unless you're looking in from a mirror, reverse into another mirror. It can be a little more difficult. But if you have that available to do that, then I say go for it. Then he discusses posture. That starts to give an idea of the feeling of the emotion of the individual. Seated poses from different angles, coming straight on, looking downward. Here's looking straight down. And then repetitive poses that you might see people doing, but they're all doing something different. He's holding a guitar. He's writing with a pencil. He's discussing with one arm up and one arm down. They're all the same pose, but they all have a different action. And then he gets into speeding up the poses. Drawing the verb, meaning drawing the action of the individual. What is it that they're doing, and how do you portray that context? Capturing motion in dance. And then he does gestural drawings with just watercolor, no pen at all. Motion in sports, including speech in order to get action across. It changes the facial features. Capturing conversations between people and passers-by. Here's more gestural drawings. Crowds, simplifying crowds. Now, he's really given you here the impression of a crowd, but he drew very little, just not even a full circle for a head, just some loops, which is very impressive. And then he discusses clothes being done in the quick and focusing on emotion, sketching commuters when you're on the train or the bus, drawing children. Children are different. Their proportions are different. Their heads are different. The placement of their facial features is different. Then discussing age and showing age in a figure. in a portrait. Then he goes into time-saving techniques, which is a very interesting chapter, using minimal lines, simplifying spaces, using short, swift strokes, trying to use a thicker pen, focusing on gesture again, fast and loose lines. He says to feel free to exaggerate them. That will help you get your action down, but don't overwork it. Just do it and be done. Don't worry about what it looks like. I mean, when you look at this one, this is about how I draw. I mean, but he gave emotion, conversation, the action, what's going on, the other people, and you can see she's smiling at her. There's something going on between them. It's very interesting. And then trying to do tighter lines where you're taking the time to really get the entire person down. This is done with thicker pen, but you can see the lines are much tighter. The gesturing is gone. Contour drawing is what we talked about in the beginning, where you're just doing the outline. This is without looking down at your paper. This would be looking down at your paper while you're glancing back and forth. But doing contour drawing is great practice, where you just look at something and you start to draw it, and then when you're finished, when you think you're finished, you look down and see what you have. Slowly, your brain and your hand will get in tune with each other, and you'll begin to do better. Mine don't even connect. This is really wow. That's good to me. Doing texture very quickly. Speedy scribbling. Look at this scribbling. And how awesome this looks. I mean, really. You look at that and it's just amazing to me how beautiful it is. And it's all just scribbles. Using hash marks, shading quickly with watercolor or marker. This looks like it was done with a gray marker. Here's another one done in marker. Very thick. It looks like he used a broad nib in this. Very interesting. And then this one up here with black and white on brown paper. I've got the brown paper. I should be using it for that. That'd be great. Down here, apparently this is digital. I thought that he had done it with marker, but it's a digital figure. Tonal values, talking about value. This is what value can be from light to dark. I should talk more about value. A few of you have asked me what I mean by value when I'm talking about it, so I'll do that in another video. Sketching over color, so laying a color down and then putting the sketch on. And that's very interesting. His face is red, his clothing is red, his legs are red, his hands are red, everything's red, but it looks correct, which is amazing to me. And then you can add more over it in order to tone it, to get the values correct. Here it was all done in purples, and then he added blues and reds over it. Then quick color values. It's just amazing. And then he talks about the supplies. Quick ink. Sketching in ink is commonplace. So it's easy to forget how daunting it can be for somebody who's starting out to decide which pen to use. So he goes into the types of pens, keeping your mistakes, that's important, which ink to use. And he explains that non-permanent inks will run and wash. So if you're going to be adding paint, don't use that. You want to use some permanent ink. Well, waterproof ink. Permanent ink, just that's got a little bit of a different definition, and I won't get into that right now. Pencils. He says that it's okay to erase certain pencil lines, but I would still leave your mistakes. And complete them. Whether they're good or not, complete them. Using colored pencils in sketches. That'd be good. I should do that. And markers. Using markers. I have plenty of those, don't I, guys? So I could do that. Paint. Just using paint in order to do your sketches. You can see the difference among all of these, how different they begin to look. Pastel and charcoal. Sketching first and then putting the color in later. That's pretty common for a lot of people that are out and about, maybe commuting to work. They're taking the time to do all the sketching, and then when they get home or on a lunch break, they add the color. Trying different papers. I love using brown paper. It's a lot of fun. Also, going digital. It says that a lot of us have touchscreen digital devices, whether it's a cell phone, an iPad, or some other tablet device. That's the natural next step to use them as a sketchbook. There are a lot of apps out there now for on-the-go sketching. With digital sketching, you can be as quick as you like. You don't need to remember your materials. And when sketching people, you can be a lot more inconspicuous. You're just another person looking at their screen. That's cool. Sketching off the page. It says you don't always need a sketchbook. You can just use whatever you have. A ticket stub or whatever. And he talks about key elements, practicing basic features, male figures versus female figures. And then there's an index. So this is the book. Now, I haven't read the entire book, but I wanted to share it with you because this year, in 2017, I'm going to make a concerted effort to force myself to learn to draw people so that I'm not as intimidated with it. Last year, I focused a lot more on architecture and getting over my fear of buildings. When I first started out in watercolor, I loved landscapes, but I was afraid of landscapes because I didn't understand perspective. So over the years, I've kind of gradually taken on a task and just bite into it, and I work on it for that year. Not to say that I won't be doing architecture or landscapes, but I want to be able to add them all together like I did in that one painting that I did the other day. So anyway, I will post the link down below if you're interested in this book. It's very good. And so is the book that I reviewed earlier. I'll try to remember to link this, this book review in the description box below also, one by Liz Steele. So I think this is a new series that's going to be coming out with different portions of sketching along the way, just kind of like the urban sketchbooks, urban sketching handbooks did. And the latest in that was the one by Stephanie Bauer, I believe. So I'll be reviewing that on another day. But anyway, everybody have a great day, and I am off to class, so I will talk to you all very soon. Bye-bye.